Megan, things are pretty tough, especially in North Canterbury, so what are the feed options for sheep?
Okay, so there's a lot of feed options out there. From a mill side of things with Reliance Nutrition, we sell sheep nuts, and we've created a drought sheep nut as well with a higher protein percentage in it. But we also sell a lot of barley. Barley's still a good option, and the price of barley has come down a lot. So that's great for the sheep guys out there needing to feed barley. There's also palm kernel. Palm kernel's getting considered more widely now with sheep guys. You've just got to watch the copper, and the copper content in palm kernel is a huge concern.
Why is that?
Sheep can't naturally excrete the copper, and it builds up in their liver. And when they get under stress, now that stress could be 6 months, 3 months, 6 months, or a year down the track. There's no full research, proper research done about that. But the copper gets excreted from their liver and goes into their bloodstream, and it can cause it kills the red blood cells, and the main symptom of copper toxicity, unfortunately, is death.
Yeah,
so
that's a bit serious.
it's the final result, really. Yeah, it is.
Yeah. So what do you do? Do you do autopsy, or how can you check the levels?
Liver biopsies are the best way because that's where the copper is stored. So it's an instant capture of the liver. Liver biopsies are the best way. You can do that ideally when they're still alive, just to test a live biopsy, and the vets need to do that.
Just a percentage of your flock?
Yes, yep, just to get a good idea. And the problem with feeding palm kernels as well, a lot of people don't know their beginning copper status, so they could naturally have a high copper status before you go supplementing with a high copper feed. Clovers and a lot of pastures are naturally high in copper. So there are other options. There is a product called soy hull, so that's a byproduct of soybean, and it's pelletised. It's an imported product, but it's pelletised. Very similar to feeding palm kernel. It's rumen friendly. It's about half the copper content of palm kernel, so it's a lot safer to feed. Nice rumen friendly product. Doesn't have any vitamins and minerals in it, but it's a high NDF, about 67% NDF, and it's a really good.
NDF being?
The fibre value of the feed, really, yeah.
What about the EME values?
You're looking at about 11 ME, so still quite high in ME. It's a good feed value, really. And they also, you compare soy hull to palm kernel on paper, and they're very similar. But the sheep, the way the soy hull is processed in the rumen, it's a lot more rumen digestible than palm kernel. A lot of palm kernel has to get broken down in the small intestine, but the soy hull will break down in the rumen, so it's quickly absorbed and quickly more turned into energy.
So it's processed a lot better.
Yeah, it's processed a lot better, yes, exactly. Yeah.
You also have barley as an option?
Yes, yep, so you've got the whole barley. The main concern with whole barley is you just have to introduce it gradually. There's that 7 to 10 day build up really on when you need to feed. Gradually build it up. You wouldn't go and offer a sheep 150, 200 grams of barley on day dot. So you need to build that up over that 7 to 10 days. And there's also, there's on average about 15% screenings in barley. So about 15% doesn't get utilised and it passes through the sheep. But with barley price coming down, it's definitely a good option. But then also if you're paddock feeding it, when we are getting a little bit of moisture, there can be a lot of wastage as well with the sheep trampling into the soft ground.
And you mentioned sheep nuts.
Yes, so we make a 12mm sheep nut, so it's a nice big sheep nut, great for paddock feeding. You don't get hardly any wastage with it. It's got a full mineral pack in it. It's wheat and barley based, so it's high starch, great for that mating and feeding right up to lambing stage. You can feed it definitely through lambing once if the ewes have been fed it for a long time, through that lambing, and then lambs will start nibbling on it as well. And we can make it into a smaller pellet for lambs, or to be fed through an advantage feeder for lambs.
Megan, I guess price is a real big issue as far as the farmers are concerned.
Yes it is, yeah, and it all comes down to price, and there's not a lot of spare money around at the moment, so it's just trying to work with and a lot of what I do at the moment is trying to work with what a farmer requires on feed, if they're needing energy or a filler, or if they're needing to put condition on, or if they're wanting ewes to produce more milk. So it's really customising and finding a feed that works with their budget that's going to be the best value.
So you do all that as part of your services?
Yes, we do, yeah. So a lot of it's over the phone, but I'm only a phone call away to get out on farm as well. And we've got actual nutritionalists that work for us in our mill, so they formulate our feeds, and they're only a phone call away, and we can get them out on farm as well, but that's part of our service.
I'm really impressed because you said that you looked at North Canterbury and there was a drought problem, and so you went ahead and devised a special sheep nut for them.
Yeah, we just wanted to try and formulate something. A lot of farmers are needing a bit higher protein, especially for their multiples. So any ewe that's carrying twins or more, they're needing a bit higher protein. So we've formulated two drought nuts. One's a 12% protein and one's a 15% protein. The 15% seems to be our biggest seller. And we've got a tiny bit of soy hull, a tiny bit of palm kernel and a little bit of soy hull in there just to try and keep that price back. But the majority of it is barley and wheat, plus all your full mineral pack. And it's just designed to be a bit cheaper, really. Yeah.
So the bottom line is that you're getting on with intensive feed.
You are, yes. And with ewes being heavily in lamb, you're trying to get, the feed value. You may need to feed them from a feed value wise. They may need 3 kgs of a good quality, say, lucerne hay. Now, you carrying twins will not be able to physically eat 3 kgs of hay. So it's all about trying to find a rich, dense feed, something that's high in ME but low in volume. So that's where your sheep nuts come in.
There's a ratio, isn't there? Was it 3% of a ewe's body weight that it can eat?
Yeah, 3% of their body weight is on average what a ewe will eat. So yes.
Or should eat.
Or should eat, yeah, if it's available. Yeah, and if she's got room, yeah.